Hey everybody, this is Grace. In this video, I'm going to mainly talk about feeling freer now to talk about things that I would always censor myself, on in the past, and or I just would make it more vague on purpose, because of just anybody could click on that to a video and watch it, and I didn't want that. So I kind of made it a little more vague. And I had tried the unlisted, and just sending it to some people like 3 years ago, and nobody liked it. I don't know if it's changed since then, but I do know that I'm not planning on going to Patreon, at least not now. But on Patreon, if it's like a paid tier, you have some, either you totally know, I don't know yet, or you have a good idea of who's watching. If you put your video on, on one of those tiers, those paid ones, they have to pay to watch it, kind of thing. Okay, and also I'm going to mention that I'm going to be what I think we used to call cross-post some of my videos, cross-posting. My channels, Little This, Little That, and Scattered Thoughts are very different, which is why I have two different channels, those two channels. But some of the things I could put on both channels, so you might see them on both if you're subscribed to both. But some on either one I wouldn't post on the other channel. So it would be just some of them, and that way I don't have to. I don't know why I forgot that I could do that, but I don't have to remake the video, and sometimes I forget which one which one knows and they don't know, and I've done that, already mentioned this, that kind of thing. Okay, now back to this about censoring myself. Other than the reason I just mentioned, I would also just not go deep enough into certain topics. Like I steered myself away from them, especially once they started that, not advertiser friendly and all that. Well, it wasn't about the money to me. I'm not a big channel. I'm not really making money off of this, So, but I was still doing that. And there are things I've wanted to talk about, even things that I've seen. And I also wanted to talk about some of the things I've learned, but I still wouldn't do those. And I really want to just start calling it as I see it, and mentioning that it's just, I always mention it's just my opinion. It's at least usually in the description, depending on if it's an opinion or not. Okay, and also yesterday, after checking out, more into Patreon, and I actually put an intro video on mine finally, I saw this woman, she's younger than me, YouTuber, but she's been on YouTube for several years. And she's not that popular as others that have been around that long. But she seems to me someone who has a lot of empathy. And she gave some, I don't remember her channel name, but she gave some advice, some tips and tricks on how to do your videos. Well, I want to see if those work. I've always tried out, when I would see one, I would try, some tips and stuff. I would try them out. They didn't always work, And I tried some of my own that I figured out, and they would work. So, okay, so I do want to start talking about those also. And I would censor myself, like I said before, from even doing that, because one size doesn't fit all. Like I just mentioned, some of them I've seen, they don't work for me, and some of them that I came up worked for me. But some of those that worked for me that I realized, other ones, the big tipsters, I'm not a tipster, but they would say, no, you can't do it. And I'm like, really? It worked for me. You see what I'm saying? So it's not one of these one-size-fits-all kinds of things, And but I want to talk about a variety. I don't know how long I have left on this video, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. But I'm going to stick around and see how these work. But I'm going to talk more about that on another day. So if you want to subscribe.